And this is what he says about pardoning himself.
And yes, I do have an absolute right to pardon myself, but I'll never have to do it because I didn't do anything wrong.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it with your own ears. And if you watch it in video, you'll see it actually coming out of his mouth. He said, I have absolutely the right to pardon myself. Wow. That should be a wow. That should be a red flag. Fireworks should be going off. Alarms buzzing. Because he's saying, basically, hey, I could do anything I want, and I could get away with it. I could pardon myself. And his lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, took it a step further. And he actually, in an interview, Huffington Post, he said this. He said, in no case can he being Donald Trump as the president, be subpoenaed or indicted. He says, I don't know how you could indict while he's in office, no matter what it is. Then he went on to a hypothetical case saying, even in the extreme hypothetical case of Trump having shot former FBI Director James Comey to end the Russian investigation rather than just firing Comey, even then you can't indict him. He said, first you'd have to impeach him, and he wouldn't be president. Then you might be able to bring some charges. But if you couple that with what Trump just said, and Giuliani says, yeah, he has a right to pardon himself, he could shoot Comey, shoot him dead, and then just pardon himself. And it doesn't matter what Congress does, because he's not guilty of any crime, even though Comey's there room temperature, because he just pardoned himself of that crime. Because he could pardon him. He says, I have supreme power over myself and everybody else. He's above the law. That is what he's saying. I could do whatever I want, and I could get away with it because I have the supreme power to pardon anybody, including myself. So I could get away with anything. Now, of course, he's putting this out, talking about pardons a lot for people like Manafort, his former campaign manager who has now been indicted. He wants to let him know, hey, keep your mouth shut. Don't reveal anything about me. Don't have it come back to my doorstep. And don't worry, I will pardon you. Even if you're indicted and you're found guilty, I'll pardon you of any crime. Don't worry about it. So he's putting that out, but he's also saying, hey, I'm above the law. And I know when they talk to, like the press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she says, oh, no, nobody's above the law. But your boss just said he could get away with anything because he could pardon himself. He wants to be the supreme ruler, and nobody could question what he says or what he does. And no matter what he does, even if it's breaking the law, even if it's murder, he could get away with it. You and I can't, but he can. He's special. He's the supreme ruler. He is the law. He is the Constitution. Now let's look at a definition of what pardon means. The action of forgiving or being forgiven for an error or offense. He obtained pardon for his sins. One example, forgive or excuse a person, error, or offense. So there you go. A pardon is something you bestow on another. It's other-oriented. You pardon somebody or some offense against you. So it's not me-oriented, it's other-oriented. A pardon's always going from one person to another. It's never going from one person and then ricocheting back to you. Never is. Not by definition. Not by anybody's understanding. But he wants to turn it upside down and say, oh no, of course I could pardon myself. I could pardon anybody I want. You could pardon anybody other than yourself. A pardon comes from you and it heads towards another. It doesn't come from you and then makes a U-turn and comes back to you. it goes out to you. You bestow it on another. They're lying. They're making up the rules. Oh, well, this has never come up before. It's controversial. Gee, let's scratch our head. Maybe he's right. Maybe he can pardon himself. I don't know. No, he cannot. A pardon is towards another. He is not another, even though maybe he does have multiple personalities. That may be true. He cannot pardon himself. He's not above the law, but that is what he's telling us now. He is above the law.